Good morning. My name is Adam Gill. My pronouns are he, him, and I have the joy of serving on your Board of Trustees. It is my pleasure to welcome you here this morning. If you are here for the first time, thank you for joining us. We look forward to getting to know you. We invite you to fill out one of the visitor forms that are in the pews. Everyone present in the sanctuary today is welcome to join us for in-person community time immediately following the service. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm that love is the power that holds us together and is at the center. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. You may recall, and if you don't, that's fine, that today is our annual meeting immediately following the second service or the community time after the second service. If you are here in person, it would be great if you came back and were attended in person. You do not have to. The annual meeting will be also via Zoom, so we do encourage everyone to attend. We need at least 125 or about 125 congregants to be at the meeting before we can even begin the meeting. So please, please, please come and join us either in person or online. Reverend Emily has an announcement.
One of our super fun traditions around this time is the holiday pageant. That's part of the Christmas Eve service at 3 p.m. And I still have many openings for friendly beasts and angels and shepherds and anybody who would like to help us along. So if you are interested, please come see me. I have my pageant clipboard today.
We are so glad that you are here with us today. I invite those of you here in person to take a moment to greet one another. Good morning again. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Roger, and my pronouns are he, him. And we have the chalice lighter today is Karen. And Karen is wearing a really cool sweatshirt that's about inclusion that was designed by Rune, a member of our congregation. And let's join in the chalice lighting words. We are Unitarian Universalists. This is the church of the open mind, the loving heart, the helping hand. We give and each other. Oh, the candle went out. Gotta do it again. So this is the season of Advent. This is the third Sunday. We lit the first two candles of Advent for hope and for faith. Today we light the third candle for love. Allison Miller writes, "The journey of Advent means opening our hearts and making room there for belief. If we do not dare to hope that this world filled with flawed human beings cannot be turned toward a redeeming love, then we will surely miss the miracle of that redeeming love when it arrives." And so we light the third candle this morning. We celebrate the miracle of redeeming love that is in each one of us, all of us collectively, and together we can bring that to life.
Good morning. My name is Chloe Sidman, and my pronouns are she, her. Marwood is a one-week summer camp where ages of 12 through 15 meet from all over America and join in community together. When it was my first year going to Marwood, I remember the whole car ride I was dreading to go. I was so nervous, and I was definitely not excited. My mom was still repeating the same lines. Well, you're going to be fine, and you're going either way. We rolled up the rocky hill of Tower Hill Camp, and I saw many scary, smiling faces ready to help me unload the car. We gathered near the pavilion to do a friendship circle, where we all said hello and greeted each other. I remember when I first met my big sib, Cam, which is a fifth year who helped a first year. Every time I didn't know where to go or who to sit with, Cam was always there to help me and always made me feel included. Another important friend I made at Marwood was CB. By the second day of camp, I was talking to a group of girls I had already known from church when I noticed another girl around us. I went up to her the same way Cam had gone up to me and asked her if she wanted to join us. From then on, me and CB were joined together all week like two peas in a pod. And I remember we stayed up laughing and whispering all night, definitely irritating the other girls in our cabin. At Marwood, which I considered a second Unity Temple, I found community and confidence, which helped me in turn find myself. I always felt welcomed, and that gave me confidence. And I always felt welcomed, and that gave me hope that I could always find at least one person to talk to. It especially helped me when I got to high school, and I was so nervous to start with so many new faces. But I used my newfound skills and made my best friend of all 4 years on my first day by simply just talking to her in line. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your life journey, wherever you are in the world, you are welcome here. Come, let us worship together. Our congregational song is People Look East. It's 226 in the gray hymn book, and the words are on the screen. Please rise in body and spirit.
Peace, the time is here.
Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus we do covenant with each other and with God.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Maureen Crotty. My pronouns are she, her, and I serve on your spiritual care team. Thanks. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. Sharing the joys and sorrows of our lives with each other is one of the ways we embody love in our congregation. Those attending in person may share your joys and sorrows in the binder outside the doors to the sanctuary. You can also email your joys and sorrows to us at spiritualcare@unitytemple.org. If you would like to talk with someone about what is on your heart, please feel free to contact the spiritual care team. We are here to listen and sit with you in times of both joy and sorrow. Here are the joys and sorrows that were shared this week. Prisms of Winter High School holiday music concert was heartfelt joy in stereo, and that's from Teresa Height Murray. On December 1st, Norman Coleman had a reaction to a medication and became extremely weak for a number of days. With the guidance of his physicians, Norman is now recovering his strength. And for me, for all those who are experiencing the elimination of certain Medicare benefits by this administration. And a great joy, Emma Farrell has passed the Ministerial Fellowship Committee. So, we know that we hold some joys and sorrows in silence. We invite anyone who has a joy or sorrow to come forward and drop a stone in the bowl of water at one of the 4 stations that are found around the sanctuary. This ritual represents a mingling of our collective joys and sorrows. We invite you to engage in the spiritual practice of silence during this shared ritual. Let's begin.
I'm Emily Nace. I use she, her pronouns, and I serve as the intern minister here at Unity Temple. I invite you to settle into your spaces here by taking a deep breath, feeling the bench under your legs, the pew behind your back. Spirit of life and love, God of many names, God of no names, known only in the deep spaces of our hearts. Here in the cold of this winter morning, we would join in this interconnected community to hold each other in warmth. Spirit of life and love, in cold days like this, the stars shine brighter through the dark winter skies, and the world feels brittle. Let us be warmth to each other. Let us light flames in our hearts and be flames of warmth to those who need that warmth most. Help us to hold our griefs and our joys as they are refracted in these cold days. Help us to feel those as deeply as we bear, and to spread our joys as warm and shining as we can, because like candles shining in the darkness, these are the days when we need each other. May this community be a place of strength and compassion, courage and caring as we work to build a better world. Make space in our hearts to remember, to hold our griefs, and to turn love into action. For those joining us online, we hold you in our hearts as well, remembering that even when we cannot be here together, we are joined together in the bonds of love at the center. Spirit of life and love, for all that is our lives and all that we bring today, amen and blessed be.
If you are someone who likes to come close when you're listening to a story, I invite you to come and sit down on the floor near me. It's another opportunity to move around if you want to keep your blood going. This is called The Big Orange Splot. It's by Daniel Mannis Pinkwater. Mr. Plumbeam lived on a street where all the houses were the same. Uh-oh. He liked it that way. So did everybody else on Mr. Plumbeam's street. This is a neat street, they would say. And then, one day, a seagull flew over Mr. Plumbeam's house. He was carrying a can of bright orange paint. No one knows why. And he dropped the can, no one knows why, right over Mr. Plumbeam's house. It made a big orange spot on Mr. Plumbeam's house. Ooh, too bad, everybody said. Mr. Plumbean will have to paint his house again. I suppose I will, said Mr. Plumbean, but he didn't paint his house right away. He looked at the big orange spot for a long time. Then he went about his business. The neighbors got tired of seeing that big orange spot. Someone said, Mr. Plumbean, we wish you'd get around to painting your house. Okay, said Mr. Plumbean. He got some blue paint and some white paint, and that night he got busy. He painted at night because it was cooler. When the paint was gone, the roof was blue, the walls were white, and the big orange spot was still there. Then he got some more paint. He got red paint, yellow paint, green paint, and purple paint. In the morning, the other people on the street came out of their houses. Their houses were all the same. But Mr. Plumbean's house was like a rainbow. It was like a jungle. It was like an explosion. There was the big orange spot, and there were little orange spots. There were stripes, there were pictures of elephants and lions and pretty girls and steam shovels. The people said, Plumbean has popped his cork, flipped his wig, blown his stack, and dropped his stopper. They went away muttering. That day, Mr. Plumbean bought carpenter's tools. That night, he built a tower on top of his roof, and he painted a clock on the tower. The next day, the people said, Plumbean has gushed his mush, lost his marbles, and slipped his hawser. They decided they would pretend not to notice. That very night, Mr. Plumbean got a truck full of green things. He planted palm trees, baobabs, thorn bushes, onions, and frangipani. In the morning, he bought a hammock and an alligator. When the other people came out of their houses, they saw Mr. Plumbean swinging in a hammock between two palm trees. They saw an alligator lying in the grass. Mr. Plumbean was drinking lemonade. Plumbean has gone too far. This used to be a neat street. Plumbean, what have you done to your house? The people shouted. My house is me, and I am it. My house is where I like to be, and it looks like all my dreams, Mr. Plumbean said. The people went away. They asked the man who lived next door to Mr. Plumbean to go and have a talk with him. Tell him that we all liked it before he changed his house. Tell him that his house has to be the same as ours so we can have a neat street. The man went to see Mr. Plumbean that evening. They sat under the palm trees, drinking lemonade and talking all night long. Early the next morning, the man went out to get lumber and rope and nails and paint. When the people came out of their houses, they saw a red and yellow ship next door to the house of Mr. Plumbean. What have you done to your house? They shouted at the man. My house is me, and I am it. My house is where I like to be, and it looks like all my dreams, said the man who had always loved ships. He's just like Plumbean, the people said. He's got bees in his bonnet, bats in his belfry, and knots in his noodle. Then, one by one, they went to see Mr. Plumbean late at night. They would sit under the palm trees and drink lemonade and talk about their dreams. And whenever anybody visited Mr. Plumbean's house, the very next day, that person would set about changing his own house to fit his dreams. Whenever a stranger came to the street of Mr. Plumbean and his neighbors, the stranger would say, "This is not a neat street." And then all the people would say, "Our street is us, and we are it. Our street is where we like to be, and it looks like all our dreams." The end. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Terry Miller, and I serve as the Director of Development at Beyond Hunger, and we're honored to share this week's offering, which will support our mission and our programming, reaching 70,000 individuals this year. So for 47 years, our community has supported and helped Beyond Hunger grow alongside our neighbors, responding not just to hunger, but to the realities people are living with every day. While we focus on providing the most nutritious, nutrient-dense food we can, we also know that it's about dignity. It's about feeling seen and safe. It's about being met where we are. These past few months, we saw that clearly when ICE activity was keeping families in their homes. Parents were afraid to come to the pantry, not because they didn't need food, but because they didn't feel safe. And while our numbers were soaring, we noticed a dip in service utilization among a certain demographic. So we adapted. We created a short-term home delivery program, bringing groceries directly to families' doors, quietly and respectfully and with care. One volunteer shared her experience. She had 5 deliveries that day, and at the last house, the client burst into tears when she was given the groceries, saying thank you over and over. They hugged and cried together, the relief of receiving kindness and much needed food. That is what this caring community makes possible. And today's offering is part of that, along with your volunteer hours and your advocacy, helping ensure our neighbors are not just fed, but supported with dignity and compassion, even in the hardest moments. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you.
Our reading today is a poem called After, and it's by Rosemary Watola Trommer. After the leftovers have been spooned into storage containers and the forks are all snuggled back into their drawers, when the few who are left are sprawled on the couch or curled on the floor, and we're sleepy-eyed and sated and telling stories and laughing at ourselves, this is my favorite part of the day, when all of the fixing is done and we settle in with questions we know we will never answer, and instead of solutions, we are left holding nothing but ache and love for the world and for each other. And somehow, instead of despair, this utter lack of resolution serves up such gladness. We're here to meet what is hard together.
I have learned a lot from my dog. I've learned a lot from my dog, and one of the things is this: it is always better when we choose each other. Together is better. On the mornings when I am to drive my son Paul to school, our dog Lloyd wants to make sure he is going to go along for the ride. He positions himself in my line of sight, he wags his tail, and follows me around until it is clear he will be included. He does not want to miss out. So Lloyd, the dog, hops in the car with us. We drive down to the high school, and when Paul gets out of the car, every single time, Lloyd cries. We drive back home, and Lloyd has been spared the horror of having been alone for the 15 to 20 minutes that this whole trip takes. He knows that it is better when we choose each other, and nothing gets in the way of that knowledge and that desire to be with us, even when the humans are cranky and late and tired. Our theme for exploration in December is choosing hope, and I got to thinking about how choosing hope is intertwined with choosing each other. In last week's service, both Reverend Roger and in the sermon and Nina in the opening words talked about how they get hope from being in community. This has been a season for me in which I have had an up-close view of both the beginnings and endings of life. And it's reminded me of how our very survival, especially in those parts of our lives, are dependent on other people. Choosing each other is hardwired into our existence. It's the how and why and when and where of that choosing that makes the difference in our lives and both gives and provides hope. The Big Orange Splot by Daniel Mannis Pinkwater, today's Message for All Ages, is a classic, and I've read it here a number of times, and as it always is with books or stories we have heard many times, it hits us differently. This time, I got to thinking about those conversations that Mr. Plumbean had with each of his neighbors. At first, everyone is afraid. Mr. Plumbean has done something different and they don't know what to make of it. But one by one, they take a deep breath and go to see him. I can't help but wonder, what did they talk about? What questions did Mr. Plumbean ask? Or did he just listen? Whatever he did, it was transformative. Each time after the conversation, whoever it was sets out to build their dream house to more fully become themselves and show the world who they are. I love this so very much. The story is a reminder of what can happen when we can move through some of the things that are holding us back towards choosing each other. Sometimes it takes another person to help us open up to new and amazing possibilities, even within ourselves. In some ways, it may be that I am preaching to the choir, literally and figuratively. You are here this morning because you have chosen this community, maybe just for today, but also maybe for decades or a lifetime. Last week, we celebrated new members, those who have recently chose to share in our collective adventure. This week is our annual congregational meeting where each member has a voice and a vote in how this collective adventure proceeds. Next week, we will dedicate ourselves to families with babies and young children, pledging to help cherish them and raise them up in beauty and joy and challenge and love. Every single piece of this has come about because we have chosen each other. Every one of those choices is infused with hope, that together we bring something to one another that helps sustain us, and also that together we bring something to the wider world that helps sustain and nourish it. In the past few years, I've heard the book on Tyranny, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century by Timothy Snyder quoted quite a bit. As we have seen institutions and people respond to anticipated authoritarian measures, I've heard the first lesson noted again and again: do not obey in advance. But the first lesson of these 20 on how to respond to tyranny, that I ever heard was paraphrased as talk to your neighbors. Snyder's exact directive is this: make eye contact and small talk. Snyder writes, "This is not just polite. It's part of being a citizen and a responsible member of society. It's also a way to stay in touch with your surroundings, break down social barriers, and understand whom you should and should not trust." He notes that historically speaking, people who were living in fear of repression remember how their neighbors treated them. A smile, a handshake, or a word of greeting, banal gestures in a normal situation, took on great significance. When friends, colleagues, and acquaintances looked away or crossed the street to avoid contact, fear grew. You might not be sure today or tomorrow who feels threatened in the United States, but if you affirm everyone, you can be sure that certain people will feel better. In the most dangerous of times, those who escape and survive generally know people whom they can trust. Having old friends is the politics of last resort, and making new ones is the first step toward change. Choosing each other is about cultivating hope, and it's also about how we change the world. I have occasionally joked that living under fascism requires a lot from introverts. I remind myself over and over again how essential connections are, how building networks of support and care are key to our survival. This means going out and talking to people a lot, and I am doing it. For me, a shy introvert, particularly when I am not solely in a ministerial role, it has required moving out of my comfort zone. But that is a small sacrifice and an opportunity for growth that could lead to all kinds of possibilities. If I can know it makes one person not feel alone, then it is worth it. I recently started listening to an excellent podcast called When We All Get to Heaven. It's the story of the Metropolitan Community Church of San Francisco, which was and is an explicitly LGBTQ+ affirming church. MCC was founded by Troy Perry, who from a young age knew he wanted to preach. He grew up in the Pentecostal tradition, and when he came out as gay, was rejected by his church. In 1968, he felt called to start again and created and advertised a worship service for gays in Los Angeles. It would be designed to help gays and lesbians heal their relationship with God. 12 people came to the first service. 3 years later, there were 1,000. And then a Navy veteran, Howard Wells, who was tired of flying to LA every weekend for worship, started San Francisco's MCC Church in a bar. This podcast, When We All Get to Heaven, which centers on the San Francisco church, came about in part because they discovered 1,200 cassette tapes of worship services from the late 80s and 90s during the AIDS epidemic. In the pre-live stream days, the tapes had been made so that homebound parishioners could listen to the services. So the story told in When We All Get to Heaven is in part a story about choosing each other and about hope. It started when Troy Perry moved through his fear and began to claim and celebrate who he was. He began to understand that God had made him glorious as he was, and he chose to share that with others, and that in turn helped them, and so on. The podcast shares the story of Connie Staff, who was a young lesbian who had moved from the Midwest to come out in San Francisco. Church had always been a part of her growing up, and she happily ended up at MCC with her then partner. At the time, gay men and lesbians were not often part of the same communities. In fact, for MCC, the podcast notes, making a church by and for gay people allowed them to reach out to a wider range of people. It allowed gay people to participate in Christian community on their own terms as makers of religious spaces and enactors of Christian rights. Connie notes, the church saved lives by simply being a reality, a place where people could walk into, even if it was just one Sunday of their life, and that was it. that might be the reason they stayed alive. Imagine, or perhaps remember, a time or place or community in which you were first fully affirmed and celebrated for who you are, feeling chosen or accepted, and truly understanding that you were and are not alone. That is indeed life-saving stuff. The story of the formation of the Metropolitan Community Church is in itself an amazing story. And then AIDS happened. A disease that no one understood at first. It came with stigma and fear and misunderstanding and mystery, and it came with a death sentence. Connie was in a small group in her church with a friend named Fred, who was one of the first people she knew who got sick with this new disease. She loved Fred, and they had chosen each other in community. And so when the call came that Fred needed support at home, Connie answered. She went, even though she was afraid. After all, there wasn't much they knew about this disease. Even so, she said, "It wasn't so much that I was afraid that something would happen to me in that moment, although that was there. I was afraid I might not be able to do some of the things he needed from me, that I wouldn't know how to do them, or I might not be strong enough to help him." She was so distraught that she prayed for help, for her fear to be taken away so she could help Fred. And then she went into Fred's room and started reading to him. Connie again. He was sick. He was really sick, and we did all we could. And what we did the most was that we showed up. We were there. We didn't have to say anything. We came to know that what was most important was not any certain thing we could say, because there weren't any words to deal with this, is that we came, we sat there, and if it wasn't silence, we came in silence. Of all the moments in the podcast, this one has stayed with me. Of this incredibly scary time in which so much was unknown, so much was at stake, and still and clearly and steadfastly, Connie chose Fred. The members of the Metropolitan Community Church chose each other. They chose accompanying each other as so many of them died. And in that accompaniment, they embodied hope and community and love. They didn't choose the situation, but they chose how to live into it by choosing each other. It's a good reminder for these days that we are living in, too. I've learned a lot from my dog, and one of the things is this, that every new person might be the next one to choose. Lloyd is relentlessly good-natured and friendly and is always ready to make a new friend. It is a great attitude to have. I've met a ton of people because of him. And another thing is this, choosing each other is always worthy of great enthusiasm. No matter if I have been gone 5 days, 5 hours, or 5 minutes, no matter what has happened in between, Lloyd greets me and any of his people with full-hearted enthusiasm. It is a great reminder we are all always worthy. Choosing each other brings us hope. Choosing each other creates hope, always and forever. Chicago activist Kelly Hayes writes, "There is no moment when all is lost and the credits roll. There is no cue that we can all throw our hands up now and give up on each other, no matter how upsetting the headline, no matter how frustrating the organizing meeting, no matter how pompous and arrogant that one guy was, no matter how tired we get of this crap or of each other. If you are still here feeling, thinking, and hoping for a way out of this, if you're still holding on to your values and each other, it's not over. If you're still breathing and trying, it's not over. It's not too late, because too late is a fake idea. The people around you will always be worth fighting for, as will your community, as will your humanity. You and I and all of us have met together in this moment because we know how important it is to choose one another, to create connection, to build community, because we know it will bring us hope and bring hope to the world. May we each know that we are chosen and loved exactly for who we are. May we keep choosing one another over and over again. May we embody hope and community and love. And so may it always be. I invite you to rise and embody your spirit. We're going to sing hymn number 1 in the Gray Hymn Book, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door. Our closing words are a poem from Nikita Gill, Lessons in Trying to Save the World. If you name it hope instead of impossible, if you hold it with tenderness, if you call it the blessing of your ancestors, if you look around and see the faces of everyone you love trying to save the world with you, then this work becomes love, and even mountains will move. Please join with me in the words of our chalice extinguishing. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again.